Blossoming Children's channel. My name is Pragya, and I'm very excited with this special guest that we have today, my own mother, Prerna, who is a wonderful person. And I'm very excited that she's going to be helping us to answer some questions. She has spent almost 4 decades working with this age group, and 6 years ago started her own business called Together We Grow as a behavior coach. So we've had many conversations over the past years about raising children, and it turns out I'm not the only one who has questions. Many people sent in some questions from around the world, so let's get to it.
Thank you, Pragya. I'm so excited to be here. It's actually 7 years this August for starting Together We Grow. Yes,
That
the anniversary is coming.
auspicious year.
Yes, it is.
What do you feel is the most surprising thing about this age group, 4 to 6 years old, in their emotional and cognitive growth?
Most surprising. Um, I'm always very impressed with how much they comprehend and
Hmm.
how their vocabulary just gets really expanded and they come up with these juicy words that just surprises me. Stupendous and it just surprises you because if they're
Yeah,
not exposed to it they can't use it, but I think I'm just so impressed with how creative they are and
yeah,
how much they love life. Like they
yeah.
are so creative and they grasp things so fast, and their problem solving skills and their tenacity, like I just admire them. This is the age that I want to live with all my life. They have amazing qualities.
Me too. So, at this age of around 4 years old, in many countries, the kids start school. What would you say is the best way to help children become confident? Because sometimes we see children being super independent and others clinging to their parents. How do we build that confidence in them before they go off to school?
So it's very interesting because before they are four, they can take on the world. They have all the confidence. They don't understand the fear component and they dive into it. And then between 4 and 6, maybe not so much four, but closer to 6 when they've started formal elementary, something shifts because they start watching other peers and they start hearing this word, I can't, it's too hard. So it's kind of learned behavior. And so, how do we give them confidence? I think starting with language is really important and giving them a growth mindset from a very early age. I would say even younger than four, but definitely four. If there's something new that they're going to try, and their first response is, I can't, it's not working, it's too hard. Like these are the things they say. The response from the grown up should be, you haven't mastered it yet.
Hmm.
Don't give up. Giving up is not a choice. Giving up is not an option. Let's figure it out. You
Hmm.
could you could scaffold them, you could guide them, but don't do it for them. Because every time you do something for a child, the message you're sending is, I can do it better, I can do it faster, and that takes the confidence away from a child. So
Hmm.
as much as possible, give them self-help skills, expect them to do it, but also give them chores in the house so that they can feel confident in practicing these skills. Confidence is nothing but a skill that needs to be practiced, right? You have to flex
Hmm.
the muscle with growth mindset. So, giving them this language, say it after me. You haven't mastered it yet, but also make yourself as an example. I also haven't mastered many things yet. I also fail at many things. The reason the confidence and self esteem go together is because um, I don't want to fail, because the emotion of perfectionism comes in. So when the
Hmm.
emotion of perfectionism comes in, I don't want to look like I can't do it. When they're just starting to read at that age, they're just starting to create print at that age. This is all new. This is
Hmm.
all new, and you might feel overwhelmed, and you might feel like I can't do it. I'm not good at it.
Hmm.
So we're not trying to be perfect. So introduce the emotion of perfectionism, introduce this concept of I make lots of mistakes. It's okay to make a mistake. We haven't mastered it yet. We're going to keep trying. We're not going to give up.
There's that really nice book, The Little Engine That Could.
Oh, yes, that's my
And
favorite.
we often referred to that with our kids because we would say, the train says, I think I can, I think I can. And it was such a tiny train and it had to go such a big mountain. And I remember my son, he was saying, He said he's trying to put on his shoes, and I heard him saying to himself, "I think I can, I think I can." I thought that's so sweet because,
And he was probably before four because he heard you say it. So it was part of his vocabulary and part of his brain already. It won't suddenly happen. See, this is the thing. It won't suddenly happen. You got to introduce this vocabulary early so that giving up is not a choice. You know,
yeah.
the funny thing is that I heard my mom say it all my life. I've
Mm,
heard my mom say it all along. You can't give up. You can only go forward. I've heard this so much that is part of my DNA now.
mhm. What age do you think that children are actually interested in playing with other children? And is it necessary to encourage them to have friendships, or is that not something that needs to be pushed at this age?
Hmm. Very interesting question. So social is part of who we are. Like, so if we think of human beings, when humans were created, we have our physical aspect, our mental aspect, our social aspect, our emotional aspect, and our spiritual aspect. Right? This is how humans are created. We have five aspects. So being social is part of being human. Having relationships, having friendships, having connections is part of who we are. Um, when they're very little, they do parallel play and singular play. By the time they reach four, um, it should be encouraged to have some social play with their own peers because play looks different when you're with grown-ups and play looks different when you're with your peers. And it's a skill. Some children don't have it and they need more practice. Um, whether you should be encouraged or not, I think it's a thing that we should encourage our children to learn to play. They need practice. So if some of them don't know how to join play, maybe the grown-ups can say, give the words, ask your friend, can I play? May I join you? Right. So sometimes children need scaffolding,
Hmm.
but definitely encouragement, but not forcing, but create opportunities for them to be with other kids because otherwise then they'll grow up and lack social skills because they need practice, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I think of it like this, what you want, what they're doing at 4, 5, and 6 is what they're going to do in teenage years. So if you
Hmm.
want them to have social skills, well, we need social skills, right? We
Hmm.
need social skills to survive in this earth.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
very
need
true.
practice. Yeah, we need practice.
When the kids come home from school, we're talking this preschool, early school age, what have you found is the best way to de-stress the
Mm,
preschoolers?
mm.
Um, because maybe putting them in front of a show is an option, but I don't know if that's the best. Maybe they're coming with big emotions because they've just had a big day. Like, how do we de-stress them?
Such a good question, right? So think about this. Children have spent the whole day, maybe they've spent 4 to 6 hours, maybe they've spent 4 to 7 hours collectively. They have spent the entire day being with other children.
Mm-hmm.
Some children thrive on this. Some children get exhausted by this. They're
Mm-hmm.
overstimulated by this. You need to know your child. If your child is grumpy and tired when you pick them up, they need some downtime.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This could be not asking them 1,000 questions. Maybe this could be giving them some space. Maybe this could be just sitting next to them or snuggling or cuddling or letting them have some alone time or just if they want to just be in their room or play or read or just throw a ball outside. Like, some nothing structured is what I'm trying to say. Nothing structured with no expectation. Your children with the temperament they have, right? If they're coming home cranky and exhausted, that means that they've overstimulated, they need to release. So going out in the nature is always one that I love. Let's go play in the park or let's go for a walk or let's not even go play in the park, let's just take a walk together, let's go look for flowers or let's go find something that is calming. um, definitely make sure you feed them some snack because hunger could also be a reason why they're cranky and grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing. Um, but if again, if a show for 15, 20 minutes needs to be put on and while you need to make dinner or something, that because the depends on what time you're picking them up, right? Everybody's different. If you're picking them up close to your dinner time, or are you picking them up at 3 o'clock and you have a longer stretch,
Mm-hmm.
also making yourself available for the next 30, 40 minutes to connect with them, but not bombard them with questions, but just to be physically present with them is also soothing for young children to get time with the grown-ups, so that could be a nice transition. Maybe you could also create like a pickup ritual that could be a sweet something that you look forward to and they look forward to, and maybe the ritual includes, when I pick you up, maybe you and I go for a nature treasure walk, like
Mhm.
I'm present with you, and I'm looking forward to this. So you can say to them, I can't wait to see you this afternoon, and I can't wait to go pick up the flowers if that's what you think they would like, right? Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
so
Or
creating
reading
like a
read books
ritual to welcome.
together or
Yeah, so it creates like a bridge, it creates like a transition from that busy collective world to now slowing down into the family for the evening. And I think that would be really amazing, because then you could help modulate that, activity and nervous system to a
mm,
little, and the
no,
evening can pick up, before your dad comes or whatever. Like, there could be a time if allows schedule, right? Everybody's schedules are different.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, when we speak about school and starting school, do you have any simple ways to introduce and encourage early literacy and maths at home without it being too academic?
Such a good question. So I would say literacy in math is not learned in silo in a school.
Hmm.
It's learned from the time you're born. It's learned in the language. It's learned through play. So if you're already playing in your home, having them include them. 4 to 6 year olds want to help. And this is a skill. And this Srimati also talked about, help our children to take care of others. Include them in setting the dining table. Include them in counting how many people are in the family. And you could be responsible for the forks, and you could be responsible for the plates. And does everybody have one? That's math.
Hmm.
Literacy starts from an early age. Literacy happens through play, right? Like, by just the way they are, threes and fours become really aware of the letters all of a sudden. Suddenly they wake up and they're like, wait a minute, there's alphabets there. And they have a sound. What? Follow their lead, like
Yeah.
follow their lead. If they're showing an interest in it, you follow their lead, and then you can start playing the game I Spy, when they're in the kitchen with you, in the pantry with you, in the home with you. And they're most interested in their names,
Mm.
the letters in your name. Start with that. Literacy is not something that suddenly happens when you're 4 or 5. Literacy and math and science is part, all through play. It's all through play. So I wouldn't say there's a day or a time or a birthday that you say, okay, now we're going to sit down and do this. It doesn't
Mhm.
work like that. The
Yeah.
more playful you are, the more natural you are.
Cooking together also?
Yes, that's math. That's
Yeah.
math. That's science, right?
Yeah.
It's all around us, and children love learning through play because that's how they're designed to learn. So
Hmm.
I just had a minute thought that we should maybe talk about the brain development.
Hmm.
Birth to three, 80% of the brain development happens. Birth to three. So by the time they're three, 80% of their brain development has happened.
Hmm.
Birth to five, 90% happens. What does that mean? That means what happens early in life lasts a lifetime. So if I'm going to give you the love of learning, if I'm going to give you the joy of discovering letters and numbers and vocabulary, see, literacy is giving them a rich vocabulary. Read lots and lots of books. Give them a wide range of descriptive, juicy words. I like to call them juicy words. They're just the big words, right? Like, give it to them and they will soak it up. They will soak it up. Talk to them. Don't talk at them, talk with them from an early age. Talk, sing, talk, give them multiple languages. Like, that's literacy.
Hmm. And not to speak to them like they're little babies, like using small
Definitely not
language, like speak to them like you would
normal.
a normal. Yeah.
Normal language, no baby talk, because they need the exposure to understand it. I don't know why grown-ups think that baby talk sounds cute. I don't know where it came from. I don't know what that is. There's some conditioning floating around. I've never
Yeah.
done it for any of the children. I've never done it for the grandchildren. It's just not something that my brain does.
Hmm.
Because I see children as capable, intelligent, smart human beings.
Hmm.
They can teach us so much. It's not just us teaching them, we are learning from them. But there's also a very fine line between pampering the ego that, oh, you are the great sage and you're going to teach me. That's not how I'm saying it. It's a fine line, not pampering their ego, but also they have wisdom.
Hmm.
So encourage that. Oh, that was a really wise thing to say. That was a very kind thing to do. That was a very compassionate gesture that you showed. That was so helpful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Like the qualities you want in your children, call them out. Call them out.
And I think a practical strategy of teaching literacy, if you wanted, was what we did was putting some sounds on a sticky notes around the house,
Yeah.
and then I would put a timer on, and they'd have to find as many as they could and try to sound it
Game.
out.
It's a game.
Yeah.
And you
Maybe.
followed their cue. They were ready for it, so you leaned into it and you made it into a game. Literacy is so natural. It I think for somehow I think it feels overwhelming that, oh my god, it's time to get my child to learn to read. No, the prep you're doing all along gets them to read. As you read books, have them start pointing the words when they start becoming aware of letters, starting with their name, starting with the family name, starting with their siblings name, starting with their parents name. They will start finding letters. And literacy is all around. It's
Hmm.
done through play. You just have to weave it in the play.
Yeah, totally. And same for maths, actually, right? Like to hear
Math,
what's
yeah.
the number, to
Science,
actually put some objects to that number and show them what does two mean, or
even geography, even math and science. We're not thinking about these subjects, but they happen through play. I can remember a time when our oldest granddaughter was around 4 and 5, and she suddenly became interested in the globe. And so we
Mhm.
have a globe in her playroom, and she suddenly became aware, and she's like, what is this? And we're like, oh, this is the earth, and this is the world, and this la la la. And she would point, and the game became she would spin the globe, and wherever her finger landed, we would do research on that country. So we had a big map in the room, we put stickies on it. Of course, the YouTube was where we did the research. So, but I would ask her questions. What do you want to learn about this country? KWL is a good one for 4 to 6 years old. KWL is what do I know? What do I want to know? And what did I learn? So KWL, know, want to know, what did we learn? So we would have a chart. Should I show you what a KWL chart looks like? Maybe I can do it on this paper really quickly. For those of you who are watching, it would be KW KW, I can't write apparently. So I put, okay, so this is what it looks like, KWL. And
Yeah.
so if we landed on Japan, so we would have Japan. And then, and the K, I would ask her, what do you know about Japan? And if she's heard about Japan, she would tell me and I would write it down. What do you want to learn about Japan? And then what did we learn? And
Hmm.
so that could be research together. 4 to 6, that is a really good activity, and it's a fun game. You could do it as a family, you could do it as, transition in the afternoon, whatever. Follow your kids' leads, but expose them to this bigger collective, bigger world.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Nice. So, a question that came in was about Sahaj schools, and this mom wanted to know, how do you know when your child is ready to go to Sahaj schools? So we know that Sahaj schools means being away from the parents and living in the collective. What would you say about that?
Uh, um, well, are you ready for
We
it?
didn't go to Sahaj schools, it's true.
Right.
He didn't send
Right,
us.
like you know what I mean. I like, is the
Yeah.
parent ready for it? Like if the
Yes.
parent is feeling anxious, if the parent is feeling nervous, if the parent is feeling like, oh my God, I can't do this, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would start with. Before the child is ready, is the parent ready?
Yeah.
Right?
And
Like
then
that's
how is
more
the
important.
child? How is the child feeling? And how are they feeling in their relationship to themselves? And how is their relationship with the parents?
Yeah,
That's the
see,
second
all
part.
of that, yeah, all of that has to be taken into consideration. How is the parent feeling about this? How is the child feeling? How confident is your child? Have you left them with some other grown-ups? Are they always just with you? Are they exposed to the
Mhm.
collective? Before you send them, have they spent time away from you? Do they have a meltdown when that happens, or are they comfortable and fine? And is their temperament very insecure and anxious, or is their temperament more confident and stable? Like there's many considerations. So it's not a one and done, it's not a cookie cutter. It's not meant for everybody, because some children thrive and some children barely survive. And that is
Mhm.
the truth. And there's nothing wrong with you. after you've done all this exploration, you know, then maybe, talking about it to your child that this is what it's about, this is how you do it, and then mommy and daddy are going to come pick you up. And if all of that goes well and the green light is happening, like, okay, we're testing the waters, and maybe that's how you try, start testing the waters. And if your child really is miserable and they can handle it, or you are falling apart because emotionally this is too hard for you, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no hard and fast rules in Saj Yoga. There are no have tos. There are only want tos. This is a privilege. If the children who go to Saj schools, it's a privilege to be part of that environment, but it is also hard. That is the reality. Hard for the parents and hard for the children. And children come out beautiful from there, and some children don't. That is the truth, right? Like, it's individual families, it's individual children, it's individual
Yeah.
surgeries that have to make this call. It's really a hard question to give a generic answer to.
Yeah, you have to know your child, I would say, because so Nalu went just after she turned 4, totally fine.
To Borotin.
To Boruton, yeah. And Ninu went at 4.5, which felt like the right thing for him, and probably 4 was not the right time for him. So I think you just have to know your child, and like everything that you just said, check in with them, see how they are,
Also
and
vibrations, right? Check vibrations, because I had a parent who said to me, we checked vibrations. We were sitting in Cabela in Shimansi's sitting room, and the vibrations were not cool to send the kids. And she was shocked. She was like, "Wow, why would I not?" And what ended up happening was those boys are now 18. And what ended up happening was they needed to be homeschooled for a bit, and the friendships that they created there have now become their lifetime friends. Like,
Mhm.
something had to happen.
Yeah,
So you got to trust the process that, the divine is taking care of you. Lean into it, have faith, the right thing will come for you.
yeah, completely. There was another question that came in from someone else, and she asked, how do we protect their innocence from what they see and hear in society? And the second part is, what strategies can we use to instill dignity in children so that they can survive these non-Sahaj schools without picking up bad things from their peers?
So important, so critical. Um, Innocence is something that we definitely need to protect. What they're exposed to, right? You can't control the societies, you can't control the countries you live in. We live in America, and there's so much rubbish over here. Europe has a slightly different, the beaches and such. So it's really important you're being careful with what you are um, watching in the house. I've heard parents say, "Oh, we watch these shows after they go to bed." Well, oh yeah, that's fine, but they're hearing sometimes, and they're feeling some things, right? So I'm not saying don't ever watch it for yourself, but um, it's really important that 4 to 6, that they're not watching violent things or exposed to too much um, anger and that kind of emotions that make them feel uncertain, right? um
Yeah, and I would add to that that,
yeah,
it's also just important to have these conversations with the children because they will be seeing things that maybe they haven't seen in their little Sahaj bubble and seeing the way people dress or the way people speak and speak to them about it. And this isn't a world full of yogis, we live
yeah.
in a world where there's only a few yogis. So this is also another reason why we should spread this word. But there's this, what I've seen in my kids, but also in other kids, is they become quite judgmental that, oh, this person is behaving like that. Nope, don't like them. Da, 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 like cut them off. But it's like, okay, have your lines very clear, but also teach them that compassion because Shimanji had compassion for those beginner sets of yogis that came, right? And probably Sadhguru wouldn't have taken off if she didn't have that compassion to go to people. But I think having these conversations with the children is important.
You bring up such an important point, having the conversations with children and explaining the why behind it, instead of just saying don't do it and it's bad and la 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 la, we're not going to look at that, that generates fear, that generates anxiety, and we won't prepare them for life, right? So having a conversation, and why is that important? So why is it that we're not wearing spaghetti straps, and why is that important? because we want to protect our dignity. Our body is precious to us, and maybe they don't know. The people on the street, maybe they don't know about it. Nobody told them about it, right? This body has to be protected, and it's not for everybody to see. But again, if you see somebody, we don't have to judge them.
Mm-hmm.
That's up to them. That's their decision. We get to decide what we do in this house. We get to decide how we cover our body for. But also, I would say, don't become rigid, and don't come from a fear perspective that, oh my God, if my child sees people inappropriately dressed, they're going to be ruined for life. No, they're going to become observant, and they'll be wise enough to realize that I don't want that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, but if we have to, here, I think this is a really good point, Pragya, that you're bringing up, talking to children. I think so many families don't speak to their children, so they just pretend like if I don't talk about it, they didn't notice it, and I don't have to address it. They're noticing everything. Whether
Mm-hmm.
you explain it or somebody else explains it, they're going to make sense of it one way or the other. So there are three choices: you explain it, they hear it from somebody else, or they explain it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They are observing, they're smart, they're intelligent, they're capable, they are seeing everything. So, how are you framing it? The way you frame it, get in front of it. And also, this is one thing I would say: don't shy away from having any conversations with your children. Don't make any topic a taboo.
Mm-hmm.
They should be able to come to you and talk about anything and everything.
Yeah.
If it makes you uncomfortable, you deal with your uncomfort, you get over it, do some research, figure out some ways how to address it, you prepare
Mm-hmm.
yourself. But you want to, from a very young age, talk about feelings. They see something, how did that make you feel? Hmm, what would you do different about that? They have a brain, ask them, right? How would you handle it? What would you do differently? Somebody's screaming and crying and somebody's yelling and hitting. Why do you think they did that? How would you handle it? Right? So don't shy away from it, lean into it, and face any conversation. You want to have a place where it's safe, a safe relationship with the family, so that they can be safe in the world. The idea you want to give your children from an early age, 4 and 6, is really beautiful ages. I'm here for you. I'm your safe person. I got this. I'm always going to be with you. Come talk to me about anything in the world. I got this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
capable of handling whatever you bring to me. I'm here for you. That's
Yeah.
the message you want to send.
And when they come home from school, how can we frame our questions to invite them to reflect and speak about their day
Mm,
rather than
okay.
just, how was your day? Fine. You see, we get a bit
Yeah.
confused with these questions. So what are the right questions?
So the right questions are something called the open-ended questions. Open-ended questions don't have a yes and no answer. Also, don't make it like a quiz. Ugh, it's so boring to be part of a quiz, right? Like, oh, don't ask me any more questions. Um, Open-ended questions would be starting questions with what, where, how. Stay away from why. Children can't typically answer why. So, what happened? How did that make you feel? Where was it happening? Who was involved? Like, what did you play at the playground today? What was one thing you learned today that you didn't know yesterday? I still like to ask my grandchildren that question, and they'll always look at me like, Mommy. I'm like, yes, what did you learn today that you didn't know yesterday? This is a good question. I want to learn from you. And sometimes I'll be
Yeah.
surprised. I'm like, really? You learned that? I didn't know that. Like,
Yeah.
But then I'm also coming from a curiosity, not inquisitive, like not accusation. So it's how you frame your questions. If your questions sound like accusation, like the control issues coming in or correcting is coming in, they will shy away from you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come from a connecting perspective of understanding, curiosity, and true connection, I just want to connect with you, they'll feel that, right? Like it sounds different when you're with a person that you're having a conversation versus being quizzed for life. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds different.
Yeah. And maybe that's why some children shut down when they're being spoken to because the questions are not right, or they're either they don't know how to answer it, or maybe they feel I don't know, they maybe they feel I don't know. Some children
Judged. Judged,
Judge, yeah,
criticized. They could feel judged, they could feel
yeah.
criticized. I mean, judgment and criticism is a real emotion, right? Insecurity is a real emotion. Um, yeah, I mean, nervous is a real emotion. So if you're asking me, am I in trouble?
Mm-hmm.
Did I do something wrong?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I want to tell you,
Yeah,
right? Because fibbing is a sign of a survival brain, right? So I'm fibbing to you like, it's fine. This word fine,
is not fine.
I even tell people like fine and good are not emotions.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean? You're fine. But I think fine means further inquiry not needed. You say fine to things like, I don't talk about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you just want to shut the conversation down.
Yeah. But when children are having big emotions, which they do, how can we as parents support them through these big explosions that suddenly come? And also, the second part to my question would be, why do they have these big emotions?
I have a quote I want to read for that. I didn't even know I was going to do that, but let me see if I can find it for you because this was interesting to me. Um, I read this and I was like, yeah, this is a good way of thinking about this. And when you need it, you can't find it. So, why do they have big emotions?
Mhm.
Because they haven't mastered self regulation yet. Emotions are part of being humans, it is normal. And children and many grown ups, let me just say that many grown ups haven't mastered this either yet.
Mhm.
Somehow we tend to think that as long as I need to help you with the cognitive stuff, the numbers, the colors, the shapes, the letters, I can be patient with you. But when it comes to emotions, you should know better. No,
Mhm.
I don't know better because I haven't mastered it yet. I haven't learned it yet, right? First of all, I feel something, but I can't name it. I feel the emotion. I feel anger. I feel rage. I feel frustration. I feel jealous. I feel whatever I feel. I feel it, but I don't know how to name it. So I act on it. When I act on it, I want my grown up to help me
Mhm.
because I'm feeling this emotion. Let's take rage because rage is one that shows up on the outside. They get really angry, they get really frustrated, they just lash out, right? This emotion shows up, but that's probably not the primary emotion. I think this is the biggest misconception. The emotion you see on the outside, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, whether it's rage. I'm just going to go with these because these are the most obvious ones. They start hitting, they start screaming, they start yelling, they feel something. But maybe what's happening is the inside emotion is maybe I'm embarrassed, maybe I'm shy, maybe I'm nervous, maybe I'm jealous, maybe the primary emotion is something else, but we are focusing on the secondary emotion. Regardless, you grown up, help me
Mhm.
because I'm feeling this way, but I don't know how to tell you, and I don't also know what I need help. So when the big feelings happen, the grown up just really needs to download their calm, not upload their stress. In that moment, you cannot teach them anything. They're over here, they're in their survival brain or in their emotional brain. They need to be in their learning brain to learn something,
Yeah.
right? So you can't teach them in the storm. The biggest job that you need to do is just remain in your calm brain. I know it's not easy. I know it's so hard. I fail it all the time. I haven't mastered it yet. It's like, oh, I'm still learning. It's really hard when a child is screaming and yelling and you're just like, just stop it. And I'm trying to help you, right? It
Mhm.
doesn't work. The best thing you can do is calm your brain. And maybe the sentences you're going to use in your brain is, I see you're really upset right now. Oh my gosh, you're really thrashing around right now. You're just labeling what you're seeing and what you're hearing, not for them, for you.
Mhm.
The other thing that I do is SBA, stop, breathe, and anchor yourself. Like,
Mhm.
I got this. So I'm saying the language in my brain. I got this. I'm also breathing. I'm intentionally kind, and I'm just like really upset right now, really crying. Okay, I'm not directing anything to them. So I'm going to ride the wave. I'm going to be calm. And then at some point, if I see the emotions in them coming down, or if they need a moment to thrash it out, let it come out, I'm going to catch them. And then at some point, you can just say, do you need a hug?
Mhm.
Sometimes all this happens because I just need a hug. and I don't know how to ask for it because now you're yelling at me and you're telling me stop crying and I can't.
Yeah.
And I'm trying my best to please you, but I don't know how to please you.
Yeah. I,
Yeah, just don't direct them during the tantrum. You can't course correct.
yeah.
But
And
but I want to
sorry,
finish
sorry.
this one thing. Not during, but when the storm has passed. This is something that most parents are not doing. When the storm has passed, you must circle back. I
Mm-hmm.
know you're busy. I know you have 1,000 things to do, and you're just glad the tantrum is over. And you're like, "Phew, thank goodness we're moving forward." No, 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 no. This is the teachable moment. When the storm has passed, you must circle back and say, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
What happened? You were really upset. I wanted to watch the TV. I understand you were disappointed. I understand. The next time you're disappointed, what are you going to do? Because you're going to feel disappointment. So, after the storm, asking them the three questions: what happened? How did that make you feel? And what are you going to do the next time?
Mm-hmm.
The next time you feel this, what are you going to do? That's where the teachable moment is going to happen. And here's the truth: they're not going to master it the next time. You're going to have to do this again and again and again till their brain starts understanding that, right, when I feel disappointed, I can talk to mom, I can take a deep breath, I could walk away. I need strategies. I don't know. And that's when you can brainstorm and say, okay, ask them, what are you going to do different? If they don't tell you, then you could help them and say, right, you could try this,
Mm-hmm.
right? But first, you have to know that you have to label the emotion. So name it to tame it because they feel it, but you don't name it. That's called embarrassment. You were embarrassed that I called you out. You did something wrong and I called you out. You got embarrassed. That's why you're upset. I understand. The
Mm-hmm.
next time you're embarrassed, what can you do?
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to say that not in the tantrum, but after the tantrum. And this is the piece that most grown ups are not doing. And that's why we keep spiraling.
Yeah. No, that's super, super on point. And I think um, that was the game changer in my relationship with Ninu because he was having these massive tantrums when he was 2 or 3 years old at the moment I would start cooking. And that was my trigger because I am trying to cook, trying to do something for the children. And he would have a massive flip out. And you said to me, you're coming to the storm with another storm. So calm yourself down, recognize that this moment is your trigger, calm yourself down, and just go to him with that calm. And I think that was our game changer.
And it helped because he didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
And that's why he was having the meltdown. He wasn't trying to. This is what I want parents to remember: children are not giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time. He wasn't on purpose trying to make your life more hard just when you were trying to cook. He wasn't trying to do that. He was
yeah,
either trying to get your attention or he wanted something, didn't know how to express it, didn't get his needs met. You
yeah.
got angry because you were busy in cooking. He wasn't trying to make your life miserable. He wasn't trying to give you a hard time. He was having a hard time.
Yeah, totally. What do you do when the younger sibling starts copying the unwanted behavior of the older sibling? So you're like, well, who do I scold? Because you're the cause, but you're the one doing it.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So we have that happening right now. We have a 12-year-old and a 2.5-year-old here. We're spending a lot of time with them. And the 2.5-year-old is copying the 12-year-old. And I'm just like playing referee between the two of them. So this feels very real because they were here this week. So it feels very
Yeah,
real. I think you have to talk to both of them because you cannot make one of them out to be you're little and you should know better. It never works. It
yeah.
never works. You have to acknowledge them both. What are you trying to get? Are you trying to get to play with the little one? Do you want some attention? Is this what this is about? And why are you copying? Is because you want to play, but you don't want to play? The two of them were like at this, they were like this yesterday. They were just like this. They were egging each other on. And I'm like, what is this about? Do you want to play with each other or do you need space from each other? Like, what is this about?
Hmm.
Because I see quite often, even this was happening. Their dad, the two girls' dad, our grandchildren, their dad was like, "I'll just be the referee. I'll just be in the middle. You be here and you be here. Like I'll just be went out for dinner." And he just wanted to place himself in the middle, but they were trying to go behind him because um, I think you have to call it out because he also said, I lost my train of thought for a minute. He was saying to the older one, you know better. Stop it. You know better. But she was like, but she instigated it.
Yeah.
She's the little one and she instigated it. And
Yeah,
just because she's older, she gets scolded. And she's over here like, right, check that box, put it in my toolkit, use it again because I got away with that,
I got
right?
a reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to call it out. Like, you have to call them both out. Don't use the sentence, you should know better, you're the older one.
Hmm.
They should both know better. And they should both be held accountable. They should both have boundaries. They should both have consequences. And if you don't want a behavior followed, then tell the grown up to not to do it, but also tell the younger one that is not good and don't copy. Like, but you can't single it out and say you should know better. Well, no, I don't.
Hmm. Yeah,
Based
exactly.
on how the age gap is. I mean, there's 10 years between these two, and they were still at it. But then
Yeah,
they're best of friends and worst of enemies. Like, this is sibling. This is what
yeah,
sibling is.
yeah. So we have about 10 minutes left. So let's do some rapid fire, which I'm not really sure these can be rapid fire, but whatever you can say about these questions. So these ones came in from
I'm
mums.
so impressed with all these questions. Wow,
Yeah,
there's like a bit of
there was
homework.
really a lot that came in. So the next question was, how do we get kids to sit still for meditation and pujas while enjoying their meditation? What would you
Ah,
say to
this is
that?
such a good one. Don't make it boring
Yeah.
and don't make it a police ritual. Right?
Change
Like if
up.
you,
Yeah.
huh?
I was gonna say change
Include
it.
them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I spoke over you.
Talking at the same time. No, no, you go ahead.
No, go finish. You were making some sense. Go.
No, just I was saying change up. You said don't be a police ritual. I said change up the routine.
There you go. That was a valuable addition, right? How boring are you making it? And how much are you sucking the joy out of it? Is what I would ask you,
Yeah.
right? Like, is your constant meditation like close your eyes, sit still, don't move? That's not meditation. That's not meditation for you. Let's not call it that. Let's not pretend what it is, right? Like, let's just be honest. Meditation should be peaceful and joyful. Children by nature are it, they enjoy some things, but you have to include them, especially 4 to 6. Ask them, what music would you like to listen to? All right, we'll pick a music for 2 minutes. That's your choice, but we don't move, right? Like that's the game. That's the expectation. We're in front of Shimanshi, we're respecting, but also don't use Shimanshi as the police person threatening. Shimanshi won't like that. Don't do that. She won't. Don't do that. Like don't make their connection with Shimanshi about compliance and strictness.
Yeah.
Make it about love, make it about a connection.
Yeah.
Children love to wash Shimashi's feet. Children love to offer flowers. Involve them. That is a puja. That is an offering. The more you do at home that brings them joy, the more when you go to the center and the meditation and the collective, you have to talk to them ahead of time. We are going to the meditation. We know it's going to be long. What can you do so that you're not a distraction? I'm going to put it back on them. What can you do so that you don't disturb everybody else? They
Yeah.
are very capable of answering these questions. They could sit quietly. They could take one little toy that doesn't make a noise, so that some fidget toys in their hands. But again, you're having the expectation, and 4 to 6, they're old enough to have an expectation. We're going for a puja, we're going for meditation. What is your plan? How are you going to be successful? The goal is you can move and you can talk. What
Mm.
can you do? Who
Yeah.
would you like to sit next to? Do you want to sit next to mama, daddy? Give them some choices, but let them have a plan so that they can plan ahead.
And
And
when
then
I
also recognize their efforts when they do it. Recognize their efforts and say, "You did really well. I was really proud of you." Or
mm,
maybe break it up. Like if it's a puja, maybe they could sit with the parent for the talk. Maybe they could sit with the parent for the puja. But get them involved in the bhajan so they can join singing, right?
hmm. Exactly. And what we like to do with our kids during pujas is to keep pointing out what's happening. So it's not just
Exactly.
something happening up there, but it's like, oh, look, 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 now they're doing the amrut. Look at the different elements they're using.
Yes.
Oh, they're pouring it over. Okay, now they're decorating Shimanji's feet. Did you know that
Yeah.
there's different pujas within a puja? You know, and having these
Yeah.
conversations during the moment a little bit
Yeah.
to keep their attention engaged in what's happening.
It's about in creating an interest and creating a connection. So there is so much joy and vibrations to be had. But if you don't expose it to them and don't talk about it, they won't understand it.
Yeah, exactly. Another question that came in was, how do we manage our own expectations and fears that we may be putting on our kids knowingly or unknowingly, and how to build that trust in them?
Whew, this is loaded. I don't know what I don't know what specific emotions that anxiety and that they're experiencing. The fact that you're noticing it is already a good news. Start with awareness, whether you have to journal it to get it out, get to the source of whatever is underneath of the underneath for you. One of the things that I suggest grown-ups to do is flow writing. So just put the timer on for 10 minutes and let your pen write. Your unconscious knows what it needs, so let it come out. And flow meditation, flow writing is a really good strategy to do once a day before you go to sleep, before meditation, because if you're not going into meditation and your thoughts are whirling, the flow writing would help get it out of you. And
Mhm.
once it's on paper, it's not so scary. So um this is a really good valid question. How do we not impose our insecurities and our emotions onto the children? The fact that you're asking it is already good news. Pray to Shimatji, help me understand what I need to grow in, help me to understand what I need to work on. This life is a spiritual gym. We are here to refine our spiritual consciousness and grow in spirituality, right? This life is a spiritual gym. So if you're struggling with stuff, get help, do flow journaling, talk to Shimansi. I talk to Shimansi all day, like she's with me. I talk to her all day. So if you're facing some things, definitely don't project it on the children. But if that is your concern, then ask Shivanshi to help you. Like help because you're whoever's asking this knows that you're doing this, right? So that's already good news.
Mhm.
Starts with self-awareness, but then ask Shivanshi, help me not to project it on them. Give me the confidence that I don't have to take my insecurities on them and my conditionings on them. This life is a spiritual gym, my friend. We're all in it, trying to figure it out, right? So you're feeling something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish you well.
Yeah. Um, so two more questions. I
I
think,
don't know if we have time for two more. We
okay,
have like
one more.
coming up to
What
time.
would you
Yeah.
say is your, okay, we'll just jump
Maybe
straight
we
to
have to do a part two sometime later in life. Yeah.
Okay, so after all your years of working with children, what would you say is your golden piece of advice you would give for parents who have kids this age?
Talk to them, connect with them, understand them, respect them, love them, be with them, enjoy them. These years go very fast. And what I would say is whatever feels really big right now, in 5 years, it wouldn't matter. But the memories you're going to create these years will last for a lifetime. The relationships you build these years will last for a lifetime. You don't have to be an expert in parenting. You don't have to read it all. You don't have to do it all. You just have to be you. You're already lucky to have them in your life. They're already lucky to have you. This was not a coincidence. God chose you to be mamas and daddies to these beautiful little human beings. Trust yourself and trust them that they're in your life for a reason. And just enjoy the ride, just enjoy the journey. I'm now in this season of my life, and this is the best thing that I could tell you. Just enjoy it. I know it feels really hard in the moment to find the joyful and joyful moments, but think of it like a memory bank. But I don't want that to be a stress either. I don't want to be like, oh my God, I'm not depositing in the memory bank. Oh my God, I'm a horrible mother. Don't do that. Don't do that. You are doing just great. You're doing just great. Have confidence in yourself. You're doing great. You're doing great. The fact that you're even concerned in this topic, that's already good news. The fact that you're interested in learning better, that's already good news. You're already ahead of the game. You got this. You got this. Go enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the ride.
Thank you so much. That was a really nice way to wrap everything up. And thank you for your time. And for those who joined, we'll be also sharing the recording in the next few days. After.
Yeah, and you can share the links to my YouTube or
Yes.
free downloads, and the chat. That way, people can download others. And
Yeah.
I have a YouTube channel with lots of brain videos in there. And if there's an interest and if there's more questions, maybe we can have another conversation at some point. I wish you the best. You're doing the most amazing work. Being a mother is the best blessing that you have. Being a father too. I don't want to leave the fathers out. Mothers and fathers
Yeah.
together are doing their best, and it's the most difficult job, it's the most rewarding job. You got this. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.